I want to go over these two sample stoichiometry problems. These are all mass-to-mass stoichiometry problems, which are the most difficult types of stoichiometry problem. That is, you're given something in grams, mass would be grams, to grams. Also, these are also known as grams to grams stoichiometry problem. So you're given something in grams and you want to find how many grams of chemical X, you want to find how many grams of chemical Y is produced or is needed. So the question here says, in the following problems, calculate how much of the indicated product is made, show all your work. First of all, in all problems in stoichiometry, first thing you need is a balanced equation. Here's an equation, and it is balanced, but just to check, one lithium, one bromine, one oxygen, and two hydrogens on the left, two hydrogens on the right. So everything is already balanced. So the first thing you should do whenever you're looking at stoichiometry problems, make sure you have a balanced equation, and yes, it is. Okay, so let's look at what the question says. Oh, actually, let's actually, even before that, let's read what this balanced equation states. They're all coefficients. Well, what are the coefficients? They're all coefficients 1, 1, 1, 1. If it doesn't say anything, it's coefficients 1. 1 mole of lithium hydroxide and 1 mole of hydrobromic acid, or if you said hydrogen bromide, sure. But hydrobromic acid makes 1 mole of lithium bromide and 1 mole of H2O or water. So that's how I would read this equation. It's all based on moles. It's 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, which makes it easy. Okay, what does the actual question say? Question says, if you start with 10 grams of lithium hydroxide, that thing that I just underlined, if you start with 10 grams of lithium hydroxide, how many grams of lithium bromide, this one that I underlined twice, how many grams of lithium bromide will be produced? All I know from this balanced equation is that 1 mole lithium hydroxide makes 1 mole lithium bromide. In fact, I'm going to write that down as as a conversion factor. 1 mole of lithium hydroxide makes 1 mole of lithium bromide. Okay, so that's the first thing I need to do. What am I given, though? I am given the number of grams, 10 grams. But don't worry about sig figs for this one, I just realized. 10 grams of lithium hydroxide. So that's my given. In fact, we always start with the given, so let me write that down. 10 grams of lithium hydroxide. 10, use a different color pen. 10 grams of lithium hydroxide. Okay, so that's my given. I want to change that into how many grams of lithium bromide will be produced. All I know are moles to moles. 1 mole lithium hydroxide is 1 mole lithium bromide. If the question asks, hey, if this was 10 moles of lithium hydroxide, and asks how many moles of lithium bromide would be produced, since it's 1 to 1, it would be 10 moles. That'd be easy. But these are grams. So the first step I have to do is change my grams to moles. To change grams to moles or moles to grams, I need to know one thing. And that is the molar mass of, in this case, lithium hydroxide. How much does 1 mole of lithium hydroxide weigh? The molar mass of lithium hydroxide. So how much, in other words, how much does 1 mole of Li, that's Li, OH weigh? Well, the molar mass of lithium hydroxide, we need a periodic table. We need to look up what is a molar mass of lithium, what is a molar mass of oxygen, what's a molar mass of hydrogen. I will round these numbers, but if we look on the periodic table, lithium is 6.941. Oxygen, 16. If you looked on the periodic table and yours said 15.9994, that is correct. That's just more sig figs. And then oxygen, so that was oxygen. Hydrogen, 1.01. Add that all up. up, and I need my calculator for that. So it was 6.941 plus 16 plus 1.01 is 23.95. 4 sig figs is good enough grams. Okay, so the molar mass of lithium hydroxide is 23.95 grams. So 1 mole lithium hydroxide weighs 23.95 grams. Now I have a conversion factor. Now I can convert grams of lithium hydroxide, not grams of lithium hydroxide, to moles of lithium hydroxide. I can use that conversion factor. I know, since I want grams to cancel out, 23.95 grams of lithium hydroxide is in 1 mole of lithium hydroxide. So this is just conversion factors like what we did in chapter 1. Now notice that, let's see if we can make that clear. Okay. Now notice that grams of lithium hydroxide and grams of lithium hydroxide cancel. Now I have moles of lithium hydroxide. I'm not trying to find moles of lithium hydroxide. I'm trying to find moles of, actually not even moles. I'm trying to find lithium bromide is the question. Well, I know the relationship. It's right here. 1 mole lithium hydroxide is 1 mole lithium bromide. So let me write that down. 1 mole of lithium hydroxide is 1 mole of lithium bromide. Okay, so notice that now moles of lithium hydroxide and lithium hydroxide cancel. Now I have moles of lithium bromide. If I just stuck with this, I would have the answer, but it'd be the wrong answer because I found the moles of lithium bromide. Is the question asking how many moles of lithium bromide? It's asking how many grams. So I need to figure out, change my moles of lithium bromide into grams. I need to figure out the molar mass of lithium bromide. How much does 1 mole of lithium, LiBr, weigh? And so I need a periodic table for that. And lithium on the periodic table is 6.941. Okay. And I looked on the periodic table for bromine. Had to look it up. I don't have this memorized. The only way I know the molar mass of lithium bromide, bromine, is to look on a periodic table. And it said 79.9. Adds up to, oops, I think no, that's right. That adds up to 86.84. Okay, so the molar mass of lithium bromide, 86.84, assuming I looked everything up correctly on the periodic table. Okay, I think there was a 0 after that. Okay, so that's just for sig figs. Don't worry about sig figs for this problem. Now I can change my moles of lithium bromide into grams of lithium bromide. 1 mole, that's 1 mole of lithium bromide weighs 86.84 grams. And by having moles of lithium bromide in the denominator, they will cancel out. And now I have grams of lithium bromide. But how much? It'll be 10 times 86.84 divided by 23.95. So what is that on a calculator? Well, let me just do it. What do we have? We had 10 divided by 23.95 times 86.84. My calculator, I got 36.26. Again, don't worry about rounding or sig figs. What did I say? 36.26. 36.26. Okay, so 10 grams of lithium hydroxide will produce 36.26 grams of lithium bromide. If you start 10 grams of lithium hydroxide, how many grams of lithium bromide? 36.26. All I knew from this balance equation is 1 mole lithium hydroxide is 1 mole lithium bromide. That's that second one here. Since I was given grams, I need to change grams to moles by dividing by the molar mass. How do I find the molar mass? Here in pink, add them all up on the periodic table. When I do all this, I have moles of lithium bromide. I need to change moles of lithium bromide into grams of lithium bromide by finding the molar mass by adding it up on a periodic table, and then type it all in a calculator. Okay, so that was question number 1. Let me get to question number 2. I'm not going to do 3 right now, but let's do number 2. This is ethylene. Okay, it says so right there. Ethylene and oxygen makes, actually I said this wrong. 1 mole of ethylene, 3 moles of oxygen makes 2 moles of carbon dioxide and 2 moles of water. Coefficients 1, 3, 2, 2. 1 mole of ethylene and 3 moles of oxygen makes 2 moles of carbon dioxide and 2 moles of water. 1, 3, 2, 2. Those coefficients mean something. Those are the mole ratios. Question says, if I start off with 45 grams of ethylene, which is that thing, and it says C2H4 is ethylene, in case you didn't know, and I wouldn't have expected you to know that before. How many grams of carbon dioxide will be produced? That's that one, carbon dioxide. What I know from this balanced equation, 1 mole of ethylene, coefficient 1, makes 2 moles of carbon dioxide, coefficient 2. Let me write that down. 1 mole of C2H4 makes 2 moles of carbon dioxide in this equation. That's one of our conversion factors. I'm not given moles of carbon dioxide or ethylene. I'm given 45 grams of C2H4. So like the last problem, all I know are moles to moles. First step is change my grams into moles, my 45 grams of C2H4. How do I change grams to moles? First thing I need to find is the molar mass of C2H4. How much does 1 mole of C2H4 weigh? I'll write that right here. 1 mole of C2H4 is the weight of 2 carbons. Carbons on a periodic table, 12.01. And 4 hydrogens on a periodic table, 1.01. How do I know that? You have to look it up on a periodic table. Okay, I just so happen to have many of these memorized, but most people would have to look it up. 2 times 12.01 plus 4 times 1.01 on my calculator. So add it up and you should have gotten 28.06 grams. This is C2H4. Okay, 1 mole of C2H4 weighs 28.06 grams. Again, don't worry about sig figs for this. So first thing, change my grams to moles. I want grams to cancel out, so I'll put the grams on the bottom, 28.06 grams of C2H4 is a mole of C2H4. And again, I put the grams into the denominator, so moles of C2H4, or grams of C2H4 will cancel out. Next thing, change moles of ethylene, C2H4, into, I'm trying to find carbon dioxide. My relationship is right there. 1 mole of C2H4 is 2 moles of CO2, carbon dioxide. Where did that come from? Coefficients. 1 mole of C2H4 makes 2 moles of CO2. I put the C2H4 in the denominator so that they'll cancel. Moles of C2H4 on top, in the numerator, cancel out the moles of C2H4 in the denominator. Now I have moles of carbon dioxide. Is the question how many moles of carbon dioxide? No. Again, the question is how many grams? So I need to find a molar mass. Whenever you're trying to change grams to moles or moles to grams, you always need to find a molar mass. You can only find molar mass by looking up everything on a periodic table and adding it all up. So I want to find a molar mass of carbon dioxide. How much is 1 mole of CO2 weigh? The molar mass. Carbon on a periodic table, 12.01. Oxygen on a periodic table, 16. So 12.01 plus 2 times 16, 44.01. One mole of carbon dioxide weighs 44.01 grams, 44 grams. So I'm going to change my moles to grams. 1 mole of CO2. By the way, lots of times people put that 2 again. That's no, 1 mole of carbon dioxide weighs 44 grams. The only time we use that 2 was in the mole ratio. I'm not going to use a 2 again. 1 mole of carbon dioxide weighs 44.01 grams. Okay, moles of carbon dioxide cancel. Now I have grams of carbon dioxide. So the only unit that does not cancel out is grams of carbon dioxide, which is what I was trying to find. How much is it? It would be 45 times 2 times 44.01 divided by 28.06. And from that, I get, actually, I don't know. I had to type in a calculator. 45 times 2 times 44.01 divided by 28.06. My calculator, I got 141.2. I'm rounding. So 141.2. Okay, so if I start with 45 grams of ethylene, C2H4, the number of grams of carbon dioxide, how many grams of carbon dioxide produced, will be 141.2 grams of carbon dioxide. Okay, if you want to be technical, find 2 sig figs, 140. But let's not worry about sig figs for the sake of this problem right now. But yes, technicality, it probably should be 2 sig figs because I was given 2 sig figs in the original question. Okay, so that's the first couple of problems.